What up, Laker Nation? It's your boy DTLF back with another video, man. We obviously got the news that J.R. Smith is finalizing a contract to become a Laker. So there you have it. I mean, JR, it's going to be official. I think tomorrow. They said around Tuesday it should be finalized. So J.R. Smith, a Laker. Now, how does he fit? Where does he fit? How many minutes I expect him to play? And what grade I give this edition. I'm gonna break it all down for you guys. What's up, Raphael? I'll break it all down for you guys live right now. You guys feel free to chime in. I'll be reading comments along the way as well. So we got J.R. Smith. This is something that was rumored to happen since the free agent market opened up once more. And the thing about J.R. Smith is that he's a very streaky player. He can be a two-sided blade where he can cut you if you hold him wrong, but if you use him properly, he can definitely do some damage. So I kind of like the addition, especially because he has playoff experience and he has mixed in with LeBron. Now, in my opinion, J.R. Smith is a solid addition. It's not good. It's not bad. It's solid. And it's going to be even more solid on any given night when he starts going up. What's up, big baby? J.R. Smith is the type of player that could turn it on any given night. He's also very streaky as well. Now, throughout his career, he's a 12-point per game scorer, 12.5 to be exact. He shoots 37% from beyond the arc and 41% from the field overall, which is not bad. His player efficiency rating is 14.0. So, again, solid pickup. J.R. Smith is that guy who could step in. He could play okay defense. He's not a great defender, but he's not a bad defender. He's not one of those guys that you can blow by. He played pretty good defense in the finals, so I'll say that, in his last year with Cleveland. So you got to like the fact that, he's a capable defender when he's willing, and we'll see exactly where Frank Vogel plugs him in the rotation. I believe that J.R. Smith is going to be a six-man. I think he's going to get anywhere from 18 to 25 minutes a night. And I think there's going to be certain nights when he's feeling it where he might actually get 30-plus minutes and play starter minutes. Again, a lot of this is going to depend on his chemistry on the court with LeBron and Anthony Davis. But I can't wait to see how we plug him in. Now, we have two very similar players. Very similar players. They're both streaky. They can both take you off the dribble. They can both spot up and shoot, and they can both slash. And that's J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters. It's going to be very interesting to see that dynamic, see who wins the majority of those minutes. And let's see, who ends up getting the bulk of the minutes there, because we also have Alex Caruso at point and shooting guard combination. So we have a couple pieces there. We have KCP. So if anything, it's healthy competition. It's a good problem to have for the coach, right? He's going to have plenty of options at the wing, which we already had before we lost Avery Bradley. But that's only a good thing. Sometimes somebody has it going, somebody won't. So you got to play whoever has a hot hand on any given night and whoever plays better defense. It'll be very interesting to see the combination of, and I think this could happen, a lineup of potentially Caruso at the point guard coming off the bench with J.R. Smith at the 2, and I think at some point Dion Waiters at the 3. I think that could happen. That would be a very dynamic, fun to watch bench lineup. But again, one of them could slide in and be a starter. I wouldn't be surprised if it's KCP. Frank Vogel has shown that he likes his veterans and stuff like that. So I think a couple questions, though. He said, Dan, does that mean Dion will start now? We do not know, Max. Right now, everything is up in the air. Frank Vogel likes to keep his cards close to the chest. So I don't know. I don't know exactly who's going to start or who's going to get the bulk of the minutes. I think a lot of it's going to depend on the mini training camp we're about to have starting in July. So we'll see who shows up, who plays better defense. That is where I expect Frank Vogel to start. Whoever shows the better defense consistently on ball, I think is going to get the bulk of the minutes at that position. He said J.R. Smith can create his own shot, bro. Yes, he can. That's why I think he'd be crucial. I think he'll be great off the bench, especially if the Clippers get lucky enough to face us in the Western Conference Finals. If they get to that level, we're going to have somebody to offset Lou Williams, and that'll be J.R. Smith if he's firing on all cylinders. Now, make no mistake, J.R. is on a decline in his career. At this point, his last season for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe he averaged, He averaged like 6.6 points. Didn't get very heavy minutes, to be fair. But, he averaged 6 points on 20 minutes, which isn't bad. But it's not something to brag about either. Again, he's on a decline, but maybe this will rejuvenate his career. This could be his last shot. And he's going to be competing for another title. So that'll be great. He's done it before with LeBron. So I can't wait to see how Frank Vogel uses all these pieces he has at his disposition. What's up, Kevin King? What's up, bro? He said, Dan, is it true that we cut Dudley and we sign in Shumpert? No, I don't believe so, man. I haven't got that update. I think I just got off of work not too long ago, so I'm not really up to date on the timeline on Twitter. But yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. So yeah, probably not, my man. What's good? What's good? He said, I'm not going to be pessimistic about the signing. I just want my boys to get a 17th and for the Mambo. Absolutely, absolutely humble. And you know what? I'm very optimistic about this signing, especially because J.R. Smith, as much as he is a wild card, he has playoff experience. So that's definitely a plus. He's played with LeBron before, so they know how to coexist. Who can forget all those lobs he threw over his shoulder to LeBron trailing in the back? And he can create his own shot. So those are things that we needed off the bench, definitely. And I believe we had some of that with Dion Waiters, but now the competition is going to be really healthy. Now we got Dion, we got Dion, we got the Henny God and J.R. Smith, and we got Markieff Morris. Now we got some guys that are pretty tough down there, man. So if anything, we added some toughness and some grit to our bench. And if anything, that's definitely going to bode well for the Lakers. However, we don't have to worry about chemistry problems because it's basically going to be heading right into the playoffs. And, if these guys can't act right for about a month or two, as long as the playoffs take, then they don't deserve to have an NBA roster spot. So if again, you don't have to worry about the drama of having all those personalities because we're not going through a whole 82-game regular season. That's when you worry. When it's straight to the playoffs, it's strictly business, and let's all get along and let's do it. He said, thoughts on the NBA allowing players to make a political statement on their jerseys? I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I think, Adam Silver has done a sensational job since he became the commissioner of the NBA, and he's been very diverse, and he's allowed a lot of things to happen. And I think he's progressing the league in the right direction. So as a minority, I appreciate Adam Silver for trying to improve on what David Stern had already left. Now, I don't like David Stern because he vetoed the whole Chris Paul trade. However, David Stern took basketball to the next level as far as marketing and making it a global sport. So you got to give him credit for that. What Adam Silver is just trying to build on that at this point. But if you guys believe Adam Silver has done a great job, go ahead and drop a like on the video, man. Truly appreciate y'all for showing up today. How you guys doing today? I'm excited, man. Playoffs around the corner. We're going to start with a couple of exhibition games, some more seeding games. And let's see how that goes. We've been having discussions at work on who I would like to see the Lakers face in the first round. I've been saying the Pelicans just because I want Anthony Davis to whoop up on his old team and show them why he requested a trade. And also because I want to see how the young core does in the playoffs. That'd be great. And I think it would be an easy opponent. However, my friend at work made a good point. He said the Portland Trailblazers, because, Damian Lillard is going to put up a fight and the Lakers will be more battle-tested. So I have to agree with that about Dame. Dame time would be sensational to watch in a 7-game series versus the Lakers. That would be Showtime basketball. But we'll see. We'll see. He said, this Laker roster is built to win a championship or two. ESPN still saying the Flippers keep that same energy, though. I love it. I was talking smack to this Clipper fan, man, at work. He's actually not bad for a Clipper fan, and that's saying a lot because most Clipper fans are annoying. But this guy's an OG. Now get this, guys. He started off a Laker fan. He said he's been a Laker fan for 30 years. And I asked him, so what made you get off the boat, man? That's unheard of. Like, so an OG like him being a Laker fan, he was around for the Showtime era and all that. And he was all like, well, I didn't agree with a couple of decisions that Phil Jackson made, like starting Fisher over Farmer. I'm like, that got us championships. And, championship coaches always play veterans over young players. That's the difference between winning and losing. So I didn't really understand his reasoning, but I guess keep the long story short, his reasoning was that the Lakers win too much and he likes an underdog. Well, like in that case, yeah, stay over there because the Clippers are always going to be the underdog. They're never going to win anything. So we were just talking trash. It was fun at work today. But yeah, man, he said, I'm going to come find you when the Clippers beat the Lakers. And I just started laughing, man. I congratulated him. I told, congratulations, man. Clippers actually got a ring this year, that the whole little coronavirus ring. I'm like, that's as close as y'all going to get, man. So we were just going back and forth, and it was fun. He said, can the NBA sign players tonight or tomorrow or maybe even Wednesday? I believe the deadline is on the 30th. So tomorrow will be the last of opportunity for NBA teams to sign players. What I don't understand is why teams like the Knicks are signing players right now. Um, if they're not even going to get back into the bubble. So I don't understand that. He said he probably started watching basketball when Lob City was assembled. Nah, you know what? He was an OG, so I believe the fact that he used to be a Laker fan. I just don't get why he got off though. I guess he don't like winning. You know, some people don't like winning. He said, Dan, do you like this pickup? I do like it. I like the pickup. I don't love it because, again, J.R. Smith is a streaky guy who can at times shoot you out of a game. But for the most part, he is somebody who can help the team. And I think under LeBron James' wing, he won't be shooting us out of any games, especially not after what happened, the whole finals incident. So I think this is his last opportunity to prove himself. People have been talking bad about him, his whole weed incidents, all that stuff. But, again, I never judge a man for what he does off the court. It's all about what he does on the court. And J.R. Smith has had a very solid career. I used to love him when he was with the Denver Nuggets. He was fun to watch, man. J.R. Smith. Even when he was with at the time it was the Charlotte Hornets, I think. Yeah, he was dope. So I think he was very underrated back then. But now he's on the decline. Hopefully we get the best version of him we can get. Dan, imagine Danny Green and JR hot from the three. Yeah, that would be. Again, Danny Green is going to step up. Danny Green is going to step up, and I think we added some grit with these fiery guys like Dion Waiters. They just have to keep their head in the game and not let people get under their skin. He said, Dan, we should have signed Jamal Crawford. I like Jamal's offense, but I think JR plays a little bit better defense. Definitely plays better defense. So I actually prefer J.R. Smith. He said, I guess I'm happy, but hey, Dan, who else did they work out, by the way? From what I had heard, they had looked at Nick Young. So thank God we didn't sign him because I would have been upset. I really dislike Nick. And they had looked at a couple other names. But, yeah, they ended up settling on JR because JR has been there before. I think he has the playoff experience that's necessary I think he can show up in certain games and do damage here and there. Now, he's not going to be somebody you can count on every game. Definitely not. But he's somebody who can, like, in a 7-game series, I would be able to count on JR maybe 2 to 3 games out of the 7, which is huge. If you can even get one good game out of a role player that can, change the series around, that would be amazing. So I think JR is that guy who can get hot and maybe change things a little bit for the Lakers if they start struggling on offense, especially coming off the bench. He said if Kuzma steps it up now, it will be huge. Yes, we're going to need him. Here's the problem. By adding these guys who are trigger happy like JR, Dion, now Kuzma's going to have to even be more selective with his shot selection. And he's going to have to make sure he stays consistent because, again, Frank Vogel is that veterans coach. He prefers guys like JR who have been there. So if Kuzma wants to make an impact in the playoffs, which I have no doubt he does, and I think he will, he's going to have to stay consistent. That's the key. It don't matter if he gets 6 shots or 16 shots. He's going to have to make at least close to 50% of those to be able to, stay on the floor and stay effective. Remember, playoff basketball is different. It's a grinded out type of postseason. So, when somebody has a scouting report on you for 7 games, they take away your strengths. And only superstars and good role players prevail in the playoffs. Guys like Fred VanVleet, guys like that, good role players, they prevail in the playoffs because they can take their game to that next level and adapt to the defense. And I think Kuzma can become that, but we've never seen him in the playoffs, so I'm very hopeful that the young guy shows up. Am I doing calls? Not tonight. I will save calls for the next time, man. But, I didn't charge my my little speaker. So he said, Dan, I heard Lou Williams is 50-50 on playing. Yeah, Lou Williams is 50-50 on playing. He's not sure if he's going to be in yet. I'm not sure when the deadline. I thought the deadline had passed for that, but I guess not. If Lou Williams decides not to play, that's going to be a huge blow for them. But obviously, they still have some firepower, so there's no excuses when they lose, right? He said, y'all boosting JR a little. He has low IQ, but maybe he changed his fight. He doesn't have low IQ. He will make a boneheaded play every now and then, but I think JR is very underrated. Obviously, people just like to trash him based off of that one play he did in the finals, so that's why they say low IQ. But he definitely doesn't have low IQ, man. He's been there. He's played really well. I've seen him go off in the playoffs. So just the fact that he has playoff experience is huge. You're adding a guy who's not afraid of the moment. So that's a good thing. Anytime you bring somebody in, you want to make sure they don't get gun shy because remember, man, the playoffs are different. And so you want to make sure you get somebody who's ready to perform. Dan, list your starters and bench for the playoffs. Ooh, hot and spicy coming in with the hot and spicy questions. I got you, man. I didn't even think of that. But if I'm Coach Frank Vogel, based on what I know now and how the regular season ended, for me, I would start Alex Caruso at the point guard. At shooting guard, I'd start KCP by default, just because KCP has done well and he's improved as the season has progressed. Unless KCP starts playing bad, then I would replace him with J.R. Smith. But for now, I'm starting Caruso, KCP, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and JaVale McGee. That's my starting five. Off the bench, I'm going point guard, Rondo, shooter Smith, small forward, Neon Dion, power forward, Kyle Kuzma, and center. If Dwight Howard doesn't play, Markieff Morris. Obviously, we have to adapt to that rotation if Dwight Howard does play, and then it would be, I don't know. Well, that's tough. I might have to pick between JR and not JR. I might have to pick between Dion Waiters and JR to get the bulk of the minutes there at the two, but they would split those minutes. Small forward, obviously, Kuz, power forward, Markieff Morris, and center Dwight if he comes back. So, oh, I forgot about Danny Green. Of course. How can I forget about Danny Green? Danny Green will be the shooting guard. So, again, that's a good prompt to have for Coach. We'll see what he does there. But, yes, starting lineup, revamp it. It's going to be Caruso, Danny Green, no KCP, LeBron, Anthony Davis, and JaVale McGee. Yes. Quinn Cook is going to have to fight for minutes as well because he's had good games. He's had bad games. So I like Quinn Cook. I think he can make some sort of a little imprint here and there. But, again, they're all going to have to split minutes. We are deep at the guard position. That's for sure. And, again, that's great to have, especially because there's injuries throughout the course of a postseason sometimes, foul trouble. Refs always getting, whistle happy. So that gets annoying. So it's good to have next man up type of roster. And we have that. We have a championship stacked team from top to bottom. So he said, I hope J.R. Smith unites Pat Beverly's shoes at the free throw line. That'd be funny. What do you think of South Bay? I like the South Bay Lakers, man. Y'all know how I feel about my boy, Talon Horton Tucker. He's been putting in work. He looks a little more slim. He looks trimmed a little bit. And his jumper is actually better than I thought it was coming out of the draft. His ball handles for that size. He's like a 6'5" with a 7'1" wingspan. For that size, he has pretty good handles, man. He could definitely be like a poor man's Kawhi or something similar if he reaches his potential. But it's intriguing to see the Lakers keep getting these draft gems late in the draft. And I can't wait to drop that new draft video. Remember, we're going to have a draft pick this year in the draft. It's going to be a late first rounder around 29th, I think. So that is going to be very interesting to see who we draft. I can't wait to do my research and then come up with the list. I've been very accurate over the past couple seasons, so hopefully I can continue that trend. He said, Dan, I believe in Dion too. Do some damage in the playoffs. You know what? All these guys are hungry and they have something to prove. They have a chip on their shoulder. So Dion Waiters, a lot of people didn't want him because of his latest altercations in Miami that he had with the coaching staff and stuff like that. J.R. Smith, we all know the story there. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see these guys play with a chip on their shoulder and if it brings in a different beast. He said, Dan, did you see Kaycock got named first team in the NBA G League? Yes. Again, the Lakers in the scouting department, man. That's why they signed him. I think that's why they dropped Norvell and they signed him to a two-way contract because Devontae Kaycock is a very good player. Now, will that translate to the NBA? We will see. We'll definitely see. We will see. I love you too, bro. Love you too. He said, Dan, I like Dion over J.R. Smith. Now, I don't know about that. J.R. Smith has more playoff experience and has been more proven throughout his career, but I definitely like Dion Waiters. The NBA wants the Pels and the Lakers. You remember I predicted Lakers and the Pels a year ago? You were like, I don't know about that, Kevin. Yes, I do remember that, and I still don't know about it. But yes, does the NBA want it? Yes, that's obviously why they added the 9th AC battle because they want the Pelicans to have a chance. That's the only reason they might have a chance, in my opinion, Kevin. If we had not went through the coronavirus, I don't think they had a chance. They were already slipping before the season ended. They had lost too many games. The Grizzlies continued to win it, and Portland was sneaking up. So I still stand by my prediction. I didn't think at the time they were going to make it. So had we gone by the regular schedule without any interruptions, I think they wouldn't have made it. So I stick by my prediction because they are too young. And then Zion obviously was injured early on. But next year, they're looking really good, man. Whether they make it this year or not, they're looking really good for next year. That's a bright future right there. Dan, who would you rather have, J.R. Smith or Monte Ellis? J.R. Smith. Monte has not made an impact anywhere in years. So definitely J.R. Smith. And especially the chemistry, he knows already how to play with LeBron. Dan, the new schedule and the playoffs work in the Lakers' favor? Well, I think not, because obviously the playoffs without a fan base, um, the playoffs without a fan base is just not the same. I do believe they're going to work some sort of a sound system to make it sound like the crowd is alive whenever plays happen and stuff like that. They've done it in soccer in the soccer arena, so that's worked out for them. But yeah, I think it would have worked out more had we got home court advantage here in Staples Center. We have the best fans in the world, and the crowd would have went loud every time LeBron did something spectacular, and that would have just pumped up the players even more. So yeah, I think that actually works against us. However, we're so talented not to win. So no excuses. We have to go in there. We have to kick some ass. He said Caruso should start because him and LeBron are statistically elite together. Exactly. I've been saying that through the last third of the season. I definitely like the way that Caruso has played. So yes, I would start Caruso IC fresh. However, if I had to predict something, I have to say that I think coach is going to start Rondo just based off of the experience alone. Dan, you remember when you wanted Joakim Noah over Dwight? Yes, I do. I do remember, especially because I didn't think Dwight was going to come in focus. He had been a clown throughout most of his career, but I'm so happy he proved me wrong. I still believe Joakim could do some damage on a team. It's just that the chemistry wouldn't have been right since LeBron and Joakim didn't get along. But I'm happy, man. I'm happy I was wrong. That was one of the very few rare occasions I've been wrong. I'll admit it. And I love the fact that Dwight proved me wrong because he's been sensational. I just hope he comes back. Dan, who do you think will stand a chance of beating the Clippers to battle the Lakers? I feel like the Rockets may knock them out. There's two teams I can see that can definitely knock out the Clippers besides the Lakers. The two teams I'm talking about are the Denver Nuggets and the Houston Rockets. I believe it. The Clippers, to me, aren't as good as the ESPN makes them look. Remember, they've been hyping up the Clippers since Elton Brand, Sam Cassell, and Katina Mobley, and Corey Maggette. So that's always been an overhyped franchise with no merit to show for it. And I think that's going to continue to happen. Let's not forget Lob City. If it was up to ESPN, if they can crown a champion, Lob City would have won like 5 in a row. But ESPN never knows what they're talking about. Or I shouldn't say never. Rarely knows what they're talking about, because there's some guys on there that I respect, that know the game of basketball. But so not all of ESPN. But they've been wrong more times than not, and they continue that trend. So let them go for the Clippers all they want. That makes me more confident, He said the Rona messed up the season. Home court advantage ain't going to win. He said Dallas is about to be dangerous in the playoffs. Yeah, I can't wait to see who they match up versus. Joakim Noah is with the Flippers. LOL, what a mistake on his part. Yeah, he's not going to win nothing there. Absolutely not. But do I think he can contribute in a positive way? Yes. I still believe in Joakim Noah. He's a very good player. He has a lot of heart. He might not have the skill set to match. He's obviously not a shooter. He doesn't have a soft touch. He can get sloppy at times. But, man, he can block shots, get rebounds. And just, in limited minutes, I think he can do all right. He said it's annoying how they overhyped him. It's definitely annoying, but ESPN, again, they always discredit the Lakers and give everybody else too much credit. So if you know their agenda, you're familiar with everything, and it's all, you don't take them serious, man. When I need a laugh, that's when I watch ESPN First Take. When I need a laugh, something funny. My high school friend cousin is Corey Maggette. Yeah, I mean, Corey Maggette was a good player. I'm not talking smack. I'm just saying that team was overhyped. But that's cool. That's cool that your high school friend is Corey cousins with Corey Maggette. He said, Dan, do you think the NBA will still continue despite the increase of COVID? Spencer Dinwiddie just got tested positive too. Yeah, I read that before I got online right here with you guys. Excuse me. Well, they already agreed on terms, so the chances of them backing out of that are slim to none. From what the commissioner has said in his press conference, they believe that the Orlando bubble and Disney World is more safe than actually just letting the players be on the streets and out on their own. So, yes, I still believe it's going to happen. I've never not believed that it was going to happen. So, yeah. He said, Dan, are you worried that some of our guys might be out of shape? Rumor has it they were working out behind closed doors and behind the scenes. So I don't believe that they're out of shape. Actually, I think we might have an advantage if we were working out. If the rumors are true, we might have an advantage over other teams as far as that goes and LeBron just looks fit all the time, man. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that. Now, I am a little concerned about just knocking off the rust at the beginning. That's going to be somewhat of a struggle, like maybe the first couple of games. But remember, we're 5.5 games ahead for first place. With the Flippers trailing behind, they would have to win out, and we would have to lose 6 games in order to fall to second place. So I like our chances. We can easily win 3 to 4 games. That's not a problem. Even though, again, the first couple of games, I expect them to be sloppy. Like, mark my words. When you haven't played for 3 to 4 months and you have to go to basically preseason again, it's going to be sloppy first 3 to 4 games. So we got to be patient. We can't bash on the Lakers. I know a lot of people are going to panic because fans are like that. They're going to be like, oh, my God, the Lakers don't look like a championship team no more. Nah, man. They're going to come out a little rusty. They got to knock off that rust and start building up their chemistry and confidence again. So that's all it is. He said, so next season, are we going to play in Orlando? Oh, no, I hope not. I hope next season we can actually have fans in the stands, even though they said as of right now, no. But basketball ain't the same without the fans, man. We need the hype. We need the crowd. We need the interactions. I need to be there, man. I didn't get to go this year. I was going to go. Unfortunately, the game that I purchased, shout out to my homie for hooking it up with tickets. LeBron was injured that one game. So, I didn't end up going because I had never seen LeBron play live last year, too. He wasn't available when I went. So I just I thought I was going to have a chance later on in the season. I tried to save my money and then purchase another ticket later on. But unfortunately, this whole coronavirus thing happened. So hopefully next season I get to go multiple times and maybe meet some of you guys there and watch a game, have a beer, just enjoy our time. He said they've been working out at guys' houses. He has a court like Staples at his house. Oh, for real? So I didn't know that. I remember Trevor Ariza came to visit this charter school I worked for to go and cheer for his goddaughter who was culminating from the 8th grade. It's a small world, bro. He was a humble guy. Yeah, Trevor Ariza. Trevor forever, man. Trevor will forever be in our hearts. I remember when we traded for him, I was very happy. I told my brother, I think this guy has potential. Remember, when we traded for Trevor Ariza, he was a nobody. He was averaging 6 points a game. He was still young, very raw. But when we brought him to LA, Phil Jackson just knows how to use all these pieces. And I'm sure he developed extremely well under the guidance of Kobe Bryant. And he just took his game to the next level, started looking like an all-star, man. I love Trevor Ariza. Trevor forever will always be in our hearts, man. I love him. He said, Dan, the Lakers can do a trade and sign with the Wizards to get Beal. Also include other assets. The Lakers cannot do any trades right now. This is not the official offseason. This is just a little window that the NBA opened up to replace players that won't be going to Orlando or players that get sick. So that's the reason this window's open. However, it's not the offseason. That doesn't start till October. Now, the date for Laker fans, for us Laker fans to watch, is October 14th. Because that's when Anthony Davis could either opt into another year or he can opt out and seek to sign a max with the Lakers, or even worst case scenario, opt out and look to sign elsewhere. But that's not going to happen. The only reason I'm saying October 14th is going to be a very important date in Laker history. So I can't wait for that. Either someone will have to step up on defense at the shooting guard position. I think that's why they went with JR. I think he was the best two-way player available on the market. Now, remember, Shumpert is a good defensive player, but his offense sometimes is non-existent. So the fact that they got JR, somebody who can light it up and potentially play some sort of defense is huge. And again, let's not discount the playoff experience and his chemistry with LeBron. So all that, I think, works in our favor. He said the trade would be for next season. Honestly, I don't see that happening. Bradley Beal's contract is huge. We would have to unload a bunch of contracts. And on top of that, I just don't want to trade my man Kuz. Would I do it for Bradley Beal? Absolutely. Do I want to do it? No, I don't want to do it. He would have to be included. He said, Dan, people clown JR not knowing him and Danny Green on the floor is a lot of space for Bron and AD. Oh, yeah, especially when they get hot, man. That's going to be on another level. So, yeah, Markeith, I got to say, people that clown on players based off of one play, really, they just be on Twitter trolling all day. They're not really diehard basketball fans. Anybody who's still clowning on JR for the one play, one mistake he made is like, get over it, man. He's still a very solid player and a very willing defender, so I can't wait for that. He said, oh, my God, just imagine what will happen if LeBron and AD and Rondo activate playoff mode. and Danny Green, who also has playoff experience. And even, who else can make it? Nobody's talking about this man right here, but this man, Jared Dudley, what he did for the Brooklyn Nets a couple years back, sensational, man. Or was it last year? I already lost track, man. It feels like forever since we watched basketball. But what he did for the Brooklyn Nets, the way he came in, started knocking down threes, getting under Ben Simmons' skin, that was great, man. If he could just do that for us, that adds another element to playoff basketball right there. Taking charges, doing what he does best. He shot a high clip of threes as well. So, he said Dudley not going to get any playing time. Don't be so sure, man. Foul trouble always dictates who does and doesn't get playing time. So I think if he gets in, man, if he makes the most of his minutes, that's a bonus right there. He said, I told y'all, J.R. Smith, heck yeah. Absolutely, Lamar. Hey, J.R. is something to get excited for, especially if you've been a longtime J.R. Smith fan. I've been watching him since the Pelicans. I'm sorry, the Hornets. They were the Hornets back then. I keep saying the Pelicans. Since he got drafted, man. So I've always been a fan of his athleticism. Obviously, he's not the same athlete, but he still got some moves. If y'all been watching his little highlight film, what he's been doing in the practice court, he's still got a jumper, man. He's still shifty. I think he's a solid addition. Excuse me, solid addition. He said, hey, Dan, I heard the good news. Couldn't believe it. Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Believe it, bro. Believe it. It's happened. He said, people made fun of JR for one mistake in the finals against the Warriors. No one blamed George Hill for missing that damn free throw and blamed Ty Lue, who didn't call that one timeout they had left. That's true. But again, sometimes the game of basketball is scrutinized based on one or two plays when there was mistakes made along the whole game, like missed free throws, turnovers, stuff like that. There's been times where guys have been blamed, even during this season. Laker players have been blamed by some of you guys. And I tell you guys, the game is not, it's a team sport. It's not one person's fault. It's very rare when you can blame one player. He'd have to be extremely selfish, jack up shots, miss everything, not play defense for the whole game to be his fault. Coaching matters. If a player's playing bad, you got to yank that player on time so that you stop the bleeding. And then everything matters. Chemistry, making free throws, limiting turnovers, everything, guys. So how many threes you take versus how many high percentage buckets, when to take the three, everything. Team sport. He said, hey, Dan, the Kobe poster in the back goes hard. Yeah, man. Shout out to the homie for sending that out. Man, you guys make that possible, so I appreciate it. He said, the trade I want is LaVine. Rather have LaVine over Beal. Beal contract goes to $40 million, and his defense is in the bottom 10% in the NBA. LaVine is the only $19.5 million next 2 years. You know what, Kevin? I have to agree with you. If I had a choice between LaVine and Bradley Beal, I'd go LaVine, even though Bradley's a better shooter. Zach LaVine is a young superstar, man, in the making. He's just playing for the wrong team. The Timberwolves messed up when they traded him. I would have much rather trade Wiggins than Zach LaVine. Imagine if they had Zach LaVine, D'Angelo Russell, and Karl Towns right now. That would be a very lethal young squad. However, you make mistakes along the way. It happens. They thought he wasn't going to be the same after his injury. I thought it was messed up how they traded him after his injury. But it is what it is. Look, at the end of the day, Zach LaVine, UCLA product. Love the kid. Wish him the best. If he becomes a Laker, I'd be super hyped. My boy Lonnie also always tells me he would love LaVine on the Lakers. So there's a couple LaVine fans here in LA. He said, Gerald Green is my choice. I really don't know much about J.R. Smith. I have never really seen him play ever in my life, or LeBron when he was in Cleveland and Miami until he came here. No. Well, then if you haven't seen, brother, I'm going to tell you, just reserve your judgment. Let's wait to see what J.R. Smith does. I'll tell you this. Gerald Green is a very explosive, fun player to watch, but he's definitely not better than J.R. Smith, especially at creating his own shot. Gerald Green is probably a good spot-up shooter, but J.R. Smith can spot up, take you off the dribble. He can attack the rim. He can pass. He can play make a little bit. So he's a much more dynamic player than Gerald Green, even though Gerald Green is more explosive at his age at the moment. But I'm telling you guys right now, man, I believe this is going to be a solid pickup for us. I really do. Yeah, Gerald Green, he's all right. He looked better in Houston because, remember, when you play under Mike D'Antoni, you always pat your stats. Just look, Jeremy Lin, all these guys, they turned back and reverted into regular players when they left Mike D'Antoni's system. So Gerald Green, I think, would have averaged like maybe 5 points a game playing with the Lakers, man. He's really not what he looked like in Houston. Trust me on that. He said, we getting rid of Lonzo Ball. Was getting rid of Lonzo Ball a mistake? Absolutely not, because we are the first team in the West. A mistake would have been if we got rid of all these young talent and then we still didn't move up in the standings. Look where we're at versus where they're at. As good as Lonzo Ball is, you had to give it all up for Anthony Davis, even if it was just a one-year rental. Remember, this city is all about championships. So when we win a championship this year, the trade is already validated, no matter what happens after that. And if we sign Anthony Davis for a max year contract, we're talking about a franchise millennial type player. I don't see why that would be a bad trade. If anything, it was a steal on our part, to be honest with you. Because J.R. Smith knows how to play with LeBron and can shoot threes much better than Bradley and Danny Green. Yeah, well, yeah, you're right on that. He definitely can shoot threes better than Bradley. I don't know about Danny Green because Danny Green hasn't shown this stuff yet. Wait till postseason comes. I think he's really going to show up. Danny Green is a better player than we give him credit for. I've seen him throughout his career with the Spurs. He's clutch too. And with the Toronto Raptors, Danny Green had some big games. So I expect nothing but the best out of him, and I can't wait to see what happens. If he disappoints in the playoffs, then expect him to be traded starting next year. Remember, we have him for 2 years. So he definitely commands some sort of market value out in the open market. So, but anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That was it. Just wanted to break down this whole J.R. Smith edition. Again, we went from was it good, bad, or solid? I'm sticking with right in between. It's solid, depending on what J.R. Smith shows up, if he's ready. But I do give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's going to be very solid for us, and I think he's going to put in work certain games. I say 2 to 3 games out of every 7-game series. If he could show up then that's more than we can bargain for at the current moment. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to smash that like button. It helps the channel out and helps the family grow, the Laker family here on this channel. So thank you guys so much. If you already haven't, please subscribe. Catch you guys on the next one. If anything breaks, y'all know where to find me. Peace out, Laker Nation. Have a great day.